This week on the RV podcast,
Surviving 80-mile-an-hour winds in an RV, you'll hear one couple's harrowing tale of a long and stormy night.
there are growing indications that a lot of Canadians are deciding not to take vacations in the U.S. this year because of the Trump administration's ongoing issues with Canada.
In this week's Storytime with Mike and Jen, we'll talk about Mike's Great Awakening.
All this plus the RV news of the week and your questions coming up in episode 539 of the RV podcast.
Hello, everybody. I'm Mike Wendland, and this is my lifelong traveling companion and my bride, looking pretty spiffy, are we not, in our new hoodies.
Yeah.
Our RV lifestyle merch on it.
I gotta say, I like not having black.
Yes.
I like this is a green, and I like the green.
We happen to be recording this thanks in St. Patrick's Day week, so you're in your nice green. It looks good. And I'm in my favorite black hoodie, so we're there. We're delighted to have you guys with us. We are still down in Florida. We are going to be down here for probably another 2, maybe 3 weeks, and then we'll be making our way north, where we got a lot of traveling to do under our belt, put under our belt, and under the wheels of our RV as we get the rest of the travel season started here. Hey, we want to tell you, we mentioned this on Ask Us Anything the other night. And if you guys don't know what Ask Us Anything is, that's our Sunday night live stream that we do on multiple platforms. But we mentioned it there, that we have made a couple of big decisions that we want to share with you, since they will be directly impacting our RV adventures in the months ahead.
So, our beautiful Loblolly Ridge property down in Tennessee, those 5 acres at the Woodlands at Buffalo River near Linden. Well, with heavy hearts, we've decided it's time to let them go.
The truth is, our travel schedule has just gotten so hectic and crazy busy that we haven't been able to enjoy this special place nearly as much as we wanted to, and we were able to in really the first couple of years we owned it. And honestly, this year's travel schedule for us is looking even crazier, which means that getting down there with any regularity is going to be impossible.
And for those of you who've watched our YouTube videos about this property, you know how much we absolutely love that land and the awesome neighbors that we have there.
We have 3 full hookup RV spots. We've got tons of privacy. There's a nice concrete pad, city water. The county even maintains the road out in front. And we've talked about how special this is in many of our videos. Now, we love this property, but we just can't use it enough.
So we asked our neighbor and good friend, Troy Rindy, who's a local realtor, to help us with selling it. If any of you might be interested, you can reach Troy through his website at twabr.com or just give him a call at 931-218-6350. Troy handles all the details for us.
And we'll put all that in the description below. But you might be wondering, why are y'all selling that? Well, that gives us our second big announcement. We have plans to make an addition.
We're adding a motorhome to our family. Now, don't worry, we are absolutely keeping our Montana fifth wheel. It's our condo on wheels and perfect for those longer adventures we love so much. But here's the deal. We're planning to use the money from selling the Tennessee property to help buy a Class C or a B+ motorhome for shorter trips.
Now, we love the fifth wheel, but we also love to boondock and camp off grid. And some of the projects that we have coming up this year requires us to be kind of unconnected and unplugged in the places that we want to go and the stories that we're going to be telling you this year. So the solution for us is a small motorhome, something that we can get in and out and into the backcountry, unplug, and be able to use it. And another reason is personal.
Yeah, this may be the best part. That flexibility to share it with our family who they want to join us on camping adventures, especially the grandkids. They can use the motorhome while we travel in the fifth wheel.
So I know people say, well, what motorhome are you getting? And we haven't a clue. We're still shopping. We have been reviewing a lot of them. We have been researching like crazy. We have lots of options that we're looking for. We're open to new or used. And we promise when we figure it out, when we narrow it all down, we'll share our decision with you once we find the one.
They'll be the first to know, right?
Yep, they'll be the first to know after us.
After us.
So we've got a lot of shopping ahead for us, and that'll be all coming up. So stay tuned to continue to follow our adventures. We have no plans of giving up this lifestyle with 2 RVs. We had 2 for a couple of years, and then we weren't using the one enough. And anyway, things change from year to year. So we're back to thinking that we need to have 2 of them, and that will be fun. But I want to tell you, this part of the podcast is brought to you by the company that makes our favorite RV, which is our Montana fifth wheel. And that is Keystone RV. And the Montana line of luxury fifth wheels is for serious RVers because they know that the Montana name stands apart. And there's a compelling reason why.
For over 25 years, Montana has set the gold standard in luxury fifth wheels, combining superior craftsmanship with continuous innovation. Every model features thoughtful touches like expansive front living spaces, residential-style kitchens, and construction that's been tested to withstand everything from cross-country adventures to winter camping.
Now, our own Montana High Country has been our home on wheels for the past 2 years. We've traveled tens of thousands of miles across North America. We plan to use it a lot this year for all these big trips that we have coming up. We are very impressed with its construction, the quality, and we like it so much, as you have heard us describe it many times. We call it our condo on wheels. That's how comfortable living in the Montana really is.
Choosing a Montana isn't just about buying an RV. It's about embracing a lifestyle where luxury and adventure meet at every mile. So if you're ready to elevate your RV experience, visit KeystoneRV.com to discover why Montana continues to be the choice for RVers who refuse to compromise on quality and comfort.
Well, time right now for the RV conversation of the week.
And today we're talking with Susie and Wayne Smith, a couple from Michigan whose RV adventure took an unexpected turn when they found themselves facing nature's fury at an RV park near the Texas-Oklahoma border.
And just 2 weeks ago, the Smiths experienced what many RVers dread: massive thunderstorms, tornado warnings, forecasts of hail, and winds that were going to reach a staggering 80 miles an hour in gusts. And to put that together, that is 6 miles over the 74 miles that categorize hurricane strength winds.
Susie and Wayne stayed in their RV throughout the entire ordeal, and they're here to share their experience and the valuable lessons they learned.
So let's dive in and hear firsthand what it's like being in an RV under such extreme weather conditions. Well, Susie and Wayne, it's great to see you guys safe and sound and out of harm's way. That was quite an adventure you had, wasn't it?
It sure was.
So let's set the scene. Tell us where you were, what you were camping in, and how this night of the howling winds came about.
Well, we spend our winter primarily in Arizona in our 2021 Fleetwood Bounder 35K.
A Class A motorhome, yeah.
Class A motorhome, completely set up to boondock. We spend most of our time on public land in Arizona. And this winter was no different. The difference this year was we head home in April. We've even gotten home in May before. And this year we knew we had to do our traveling between Arizona and Michigan during March because we're leaving for Alaska May 1st. And I've always been weather aware. I'm a farm girl, and farmers depend on the weather. And so I always pay attention to the weather. And thankfully, on the RV Lifestyle group, Chris Allen does an excellent job of keeping us updated on whether we need to be paying attention to.
That's on our closed community, our
It
rvcommunity.com.
is,
Yes,
which to
yes.
me is priceless.
Yeah, we have those are the best weather forecasts I've ever seen for
Well, just
RVers.
the
Yeah.
whole group in general, I'm so over Facebook, and this group is just full of kind people who are there to help other people that are also RVing.
Yeah.
And Chris is wonderful with the weather, and he's the one that basically introduced us to Max Velocity on YouTube.
Max
Um,
Velocity, for those who don't know, is a YouTuber who does weather forecasts that are we have all found them the most accurate of any. I've been following them all winter, and
yes,
that comes about through our RV community where we have a section for weather for RVers that's up to date. Okay, so
and
you were
no
in your
hype, no, just
no
the
hype at all. No, it's real weather that you can count on. Tell us where you were and what that forecast was. Most importantly, what you did. Where are you, Wayne, now at this point?
We are in Foss, Oklahoma,
Mm-hmm.
which is just over, I think it's over the Texas Panhandle border.
Okay.
Just,
So,
just
so, so you look at the weather forecast, and what does it say?
well, just heavy winds for sure. Possibility of tornadoes. And we listened to another weather guy named Reed Timmer.
who is a storm chaser.
So you're seeing this storm. Did the idea come, Wayne, to just leave and try and outrun it?
Well, we didn't really want to drive. And I think you just tend to kind of stay put.
Because it's going west, and that's the way you would have been going,
West
right? So
East,
you
yes.
Yeah,
you
we were
it'd be
going.
hard to,
Yeah, we were
you're
coming
gonna
east.
And
you're
they
gonna
guess
face it one way or another, right?
they just kept talking winds,
Yeah,
sustained 20 to 30, gusts 40 to 60. And then on March 3rd itself, then the gusts went up to 80 miles an hour in prediction. As we came closer to March 3rd, which was Wayne's birthday, the predictions got more severe, earlier, and the winds got higher.
So
Um,
what did you do? What precautions did you take?
we brought the slides in. It was blowing all day. We probably brought the slides in maybe like noon or so. And people understand what that's like. It's certainly doable, but it's kind of uncomfortable. But we brought the slides in. It kind of came to me to put a full tank of fresh water. We had water available. And so we filled up the 100-gallon water tank. Our black
For
tank and
ballast, for weight, right?
for
Yeah.
weight, we thought, yeah. The black tank and gray tank were probably maybe half full, so we didn't rush to empty them. And then we frankly just sat in the driver and passenger seat, facing west. We were facing west, and the lightning started, and it was
After dark.
quite a quite a light show for a good hour and a half.
And not the lightning like we're used to, where like the cloud to ground lightning. It was the whole sky, and erupted into orange.
And what was it like in the motorhome? And I assume the winds were really picking up, right?
Oh yeah,
Yeah, the winds were picking up, and of course, you're always concerned about that next big wind. You get through one, and you think, "Oh boy, is the next one going to be even stronger?" Um,
but we were also situated head into the wind, so it really wasn't hitting us side to side much at all. Um, we didn't get that rocking side to side because we were faced into it.
you know,
That helps a lot. And we were on a reservoir, a lake, but a dammed lake, and there were whitecaps on the lake all day, and it was just all day unrelenting. We didn't,
And then
we,
it got dark, and then
and
the
then it got
storm hit.
dark, and then the storm started. The lightning started,
yeah.
and I'm just glued. to my computer and my phone, and I went and sat in the front seat and looked out the windshield. I've always been more comfortable being able to see the sky than hiding somewhere.
So now there was a tornado warning.
Not until 10:30
So
p.m.
you were in there all day and then nights, and now it's 10:30 at night, and
Yes,
there's a tornado warning.
yes. We started watching. Well, we were constantly. I was constantly watching max velocity, but then I started watching Reed Timmer because he mentioned that he was in the area exactly where we were. I took
Did
one.
this tornado come through?
If it did, it didn't touch ground near Foss, Oklahoma. It didn't touch ground until it got further east.
But the thing that I was the most amazed when we first heard your story was how big were the wind gusts where you were?
They said on the internet 80 miles an hour, and
That is
we had
hurricane force.
we had at least one that I know was that strong. And
Eh,
like Wayne said, you don't know what the next one is.
Was debris hitting your RV at that point?
No, it was not. And again, that is something else I had checked out during the day. There were trees between each site in this campground. And most of the trees, I don't know what kind they were, but they were a hardwood tree that I could tell by looking at them, they don't break easily. Whereas some of the other spots near me, I noticed that there were some trees with some limb damage on them. And I made sure one of those wasn't biased. We watched the cover to the dumpsters go back and forth all day long.
Yeah.
So
the wind is buffeting the RV. You've got the slides in. You got water in your tanks. Did it ever die down that night, or how long were you
definitely
living?
it did. We actually slept through that night once the storm was done. Once we felt comfortable, which was about midnight, things. In fact, they got eerily quiet for a while, and of course that sent my antennas up too.
That's when the tornadoes come.
Yes, exactly. And Wayne said, "Well, the front's almost through. We're safe." And I said, "No, the tornadoes come on the back side of the front." And there was a
So
nice.
you missed the tornado. You hit the wind. What advice would you give other RVers? One of the questions that I think people will have is, was there a shelter at that campground that you could have gone into?
There was. And I would advise people to do that because that's what you're supposed to do. We never heard sirens. We saw the park ranger drive through once. There were only 4 rigs there in the whole campground. And they do tell you to go to the shelter, but I didn't know there was a tornado warning until Reed Timmer informed me at 10:30 p.m.
So there were no sirens in the area?
Not that we heard, no.
Your phones didn't go off with the warning that sometimes happens?
I did get an alert on my phone at 10:30. But again, you're in the dark. You don't know
Did
where
you lose
this
power? Did you ever lose power?
No, we did not.
No.
No.
Which,
Wow.
again, wouldn't have been a problem because we have our generator and our lithium batteries. But Starlink was also a lifesaver because we never lost internet connection. And if we would have had to make a phone call, we would, have done Wi-Fi calling. But so that was also good.
We had we had the Starlink bungee cord connected to the bottom of the picnic table.
We thought to do that.
That was smart because your neighbors would have had that. That would have been hurled to the air.
Yeah.
Did you have any damage at all to your? Nothing to your?
No, we did get a small amount of hail. Right about the time they called for the tornado warning. And they were predicting golf ball size hail. And that was our biggest concern because we've got a rooftop full of solar panels. And we did get a small amount, but not enough to do any damage.
All right. Lessons learned from this. Will that change any of the way you RV?
probably will look for the shelters a little bit closer as we come in.
Yeah.
But you just, frankly, you just tend not to leave the little comfort you have. Actually, the big comfort you have in a Class A.
We opted to seatbelt ourselves in because I figured at least that way I would be attached to the motorhome. And I covered myself with a rug. I mean, because I was sitting right in front of the windshield, which
Yeah.
is not where you should be.
Well, I appreciated you, particularly coming on the our community, rvcommunity.com, and sharing this on one of our live feeds the other night afterwards, after our Ask Us Anything. And I just had to get you on the podcast because I think it shows how it's important to face into the wind if you
Yep.
can. You pick a site.
Yeah.
And when you get heavy winds, bring in the slides because those act just like sails if you don't. And then I don't know if I would have sat in the windshield, Susie, with a rug over me.
I'm not recommending it. No.
Yeah. Wayne and Susie, thank you for sharing your story, the lessons learned, and your tips. This has been a wild winter year, and it looks like the spring is starting. It's going to be the same way for a while. Hey, thank you guys for sharing your story.
Thank you, Mike.
Thanks, Mike.
And thank you for all you do.
Well, Susie and Wayne are now back in Michigan and getting their RV ready to take it up to Alaska. They are intrepid travelers, and I thought it was interesting to listen to some of the lessons they shared. Good couple.
And they're not letting this little bump in the road slow them down. Alaska, here they come.
Yeah, here they go. All right, it's time now for our segment we call the RV Land Report.
And are you tired of camping restrictions, reservation headaches, and being told when to leave? Then owning your own RV land may be worth checking out. With your own land, you can camp whenever you want, as long as you want. And in this segment of the podcast, we're checking in with the RV land specialists from different parts of the country.
First up is Eric Pozniak from Western Land and Ranches, who's going to reveal some exciting opportunities for RV enthusiasts looking to purchase their own slice of freedom in the American West, where you can camp whenever you want, as long as you want.
We have some exciting things going on right now. We are focused on a grand opening out in Walsenburg, Colorado, minutes off of the I-25. I mean, we have never had anything this close to an interstate, so we are super excited. These are big pieces of property, and I mean, we are rocking and rolling.
Tell us a little bit about them. What's it like? What can you do with your RV out there?
Sure. So the best part about this, and there's many, there is no HOA. There are no restrictions. These are 35 to 40 acre size lots, like I mentioned. And we, as a developer, we're actually pulling electricity throughout this property. It is going to be an amazing project when it's completed.
What's the countryside like out there? You're in Colorado, and it is a pretty diverse state. What's it going to be looking like when you're out there?
So this is just nice, gently rolling hills, and we have incredible views of the Spanish Peak Mountains, part of the Rockies, and then you could kind of see the rest of the Rockies as they go to the north. Amazing.
All right, tell everybody how they can check out this place and learn more about it.
Sure. Best thing to do is go to www.coloradoranchsale.com. So coloradoranchsale.com.
Thanks, Eric. And now let's head east and see what we have in RV land east of the Mississippi. And we're joined by Tom Spakowski from Tennessee Land and Lakes to talk about RV properties being sold this month in Tennessee.
We have, it's the final section of something called the Reserve at High Forest. And it's a magnificent hilltop estate. It's been a wild success, especially when it comes to RVers. We've had a lot of people buying RV property there, setting up the most unbelievable camps. You can do what you want. It's your property, your way. And it's so unusual. And it's really close to Nashville. This is only just south of Nashville, and right in the middle of horse country by Natchez Trace Parkway.
Now,
it's been an exciting project.
We know that we've actually visited that parcel of land. It's not far from the land that we have in Tennessee, and it is gorgeous land. How big are the lots?
The properties range in size from 5 to 43 acres, and there are quite a few properties in between that in the mid range, and nicely priced. You can get properties for about half of what they're selling properties for in that area. So,
And this area is called, am I right, the big backyard of Nashville, and there's just a lot of growth heading that way, and people
yeah,
are looking.
Nashville's big backyard. There's more jobs created than they can even fill. High paying jobs. The economy is robust. You're right next to Music City, but beautiful countryside. Like I said, horse country, and it's spectacular. Yeah.
All right. So tell people how they can find out more about it. Where do they go?
The site is rvlands.net. rvlands.net.
All right.
rvlands.net.
We'll put it in the description below. Thank you, Tom.
Terrific. Thanks for having me.
Time now for the Social Media Buzz with Wendy Boyer.
Wendy reports on the hot issues most talked about this past week on social media and our RV Lifestyle Community Group.
Hi everybody. In our RV Lifestyle community, we had a great time last week at our virtual community campfire. Now, what is a virtual community campfire, you may be asking? Well, that's when we all get together live online. We usually have somebody come on camera, and then we also have a chat going on in real time, and we talk about something related to camping. And this past week, we talked about buying a used RV. And Julio, one of our members, came on and talked about the process he and his wife, Anna, went through when they were shopping and finding this beautiful Class A motorhome. It sounds like they got a great deal, and there's just all sorts of great deals out there right now. It was a really helpful conversation, lots of great tips, and a lot of fun. Also in our community, we had our first March meetup this past week. We had our host, Janice and Mike, in Tennessee, organized a dinner. People who were only online friends became real life friends. They got together, had some great barbecue, wonderful conversation, and it just sounded like it was a lot of fun. Now, some of you might be saying, what is this RV lifestyle community she's talking about? Well, our RV lifestyle community is a private online community. It's kind of like Facebook in that you can post questions, share tips, talk about camping trips there, but it's also way more. We have a self-paced free course on there to learn more about RVing. We get together and have camping trips, meetups. We do our lives. There's just all sorts of special little surprises in there, playlists for the road, things like that. And if you haven't ever checked it out, you should. We would love to have you join us. But we still have our RV Lifestyle Facebook group going strong, and that is always very, very busy. And the buzz from our Facebook group this past week was the weather, those winds and storms and road closures sweeping the nation. One of the posts that caught my eye was from Stephen. And now Stephen was at a campground that did not have a shelter for high winds. And being a smart guy, he started thinking ahead, and he's like, what do I do if a tornado comes through here or some sort of really bad wind situation? And so he thought maybe what they would do is he and his wife would come into their 350 truck, maybe lay on the floor, ride it out there. So he posted this in the group and wanted to know what people thought. Well, as you can imagine, there were a lot of strong opinions on this. And the overwhelming majority said, do not try to ride out a tornado or a windstorm in your truck, even a 350, big truck. Because a truck is nothing for one of these tornadoes. They just pick up a truck, pick up a car, they pick up, huge trucks. And so don't try to ride it out in the truck. We had somebody, Dwayne was one of several, I believe, that actually survived and lived through tornadoes. And Dwayne said what he would do is scout out the area, try to find a low area, maybe a ditch, a large culvert, a burn. And if a storm should come, you go into that low area, you lay flat on the ground, and that's the safest place to be. He also recommended if he has a bike helmet, shoes, flashlight, bring those with him should he need to do that. Others said, see if there's a public shelter nearby. And some said if you need to leave your RV, that's okay. You need to get out of there and be safe. People talked about filling up your water tank with water so it'd be a little heavier, bringing in the slides. But the bottom line, don't try to ride out a tornado, a bad storm in your truck, in your car, in your RV. Just get out of there and get to safety. So I thought that was good advice for everyone and wanted to share that with you. And that's it for me this week. I'm Wendy Boyer, and I'll see you either in our RV lifestyle community or Facebook group.
There was so much good information about what to do if you end up in your camper with your truck and there's no place to go that's cement, a place when a storm is coming, and all the suggestions that were made, good suggestions, and worth listening to all the things that people had to contribute.
We have an invitation for you. It's an invitation to have fun, make friends, and find adventure by joining us at rvcommunity.com. And that's our private online community created exclusively for RV enthusiasts, away from the noise and the nastiness. You know what it's like on public social media, like Facebook. We truly believe that the journey is always better together.
And at rvcommunity.com, you're connecting with RVers who share your passions. From boondocking under the stars to swapping campfire recipes, capturing stunning landscapes through your camera lens, or even traveling with your four-legged co-pilots.
With over 24 special interest RV groups, there is a space for everybody. And best of all, there are no ads, no distractions, just real conversations and genuine friendships.
But that's not all. Join us at 3 exclusive rallies every year, held in breathtaking locations across North America. Share stories, learn from experienced travelers, and create unforgettable memories, because RVing is about the people you meet.
Now, you'll get direct access and coaching from Jen and I. We do regular live streams just for the community. There's instant chat. There's meetups in local areas and regional spots. And you're not just joining a community, you're becoming truly part of an RV family.
Come check us out at rvcommunity.com for more information. We're all about 3 things: having fun, making friends, and finding adventure.
That is how we live every day in the RV lifestyle community, because life's greatest moments happen when you dare to explore.
Now it's time for the RV news of the week. And our first story is more than 28 million Americans are planning to go RVing this spring. And the majority are targeting locations 7 to 15-hour drive from their home.
That's a long drive.
Yeah, it is.
Where are they going?
Top travel spots are beaches and coastal areas, followed by national parks, lakes, and mountain retreats. And the data is part of the RV Industries Association Spring Travel Intention Survey.
So 7 to 15 hours drive, that's a day and a half, 2 days driving. Very few people will drive 15 hours straight. 7 hours is a long time. So these are pretty significant trips that people are planning, and that's just for spring. We haven't looked at what's
planned for summer.
And
fall.
When there's more time on their hands.
Mm-hmm.
This is a story that is getting a lot of informal talk. Nobody's really saying anything publicly on this, but it starts off with a story out of Washington that's going to affect Canadian visitors to the U.S. If they're going to stay here 30 days or longer, under current regulations, now you know how things have been flip-flopping around, they have to register with the U.S. Department of Homeland Security starting April 11th under President Donald Trump's Protecting the American People Against Invasion order. So if you're coming in from Canada and you're going to stay over a month, you got to register. And that is not setting very well with a lot of Canadians.
Well, I can see why. This move is sure to affect Canadian RVers, many of whom are among the 1 million Canadian snowbirds who come to the U.S. each year. Reports are, they're already out there that a lot of folks are deciding that they're going to drop their U.S. travel plans.
Yeah, even right in the last couple of months, we've been down here in Florida since January, and we've heard that from campground owners that they have more vacancies because a lot of the Canadians were not coming to snowboard even this year. So what it's going to do next year, who knows? We don't know whether all these Canadian-U.S. Controversies and name calling is going to end, but it is having an effect with people apparently starting to cancel their U.S. travel plans. Big story from Illinois.
Yeah, Illinois is considering taxing drivers by miles driven rather than by gallons purchased at the pump, as consumers are buying less fuel, and with the electric cars that are out there, the tax revenue is dipping.
Well, of course, they got to figure some way to hit it to us, right? So it's not just Illinois. Oregon's doing this. Utah, they're implementing various programs like this. Already, Illinois pays the second highest fuel tax in the nation. And they're considering this pilot test now where drivers have to report their mileage through a transponder that they put on their car or pictures of their odometer and then pay a tax based on miles driven.
I gotta say, that really ruffles my feathers.
Oh man, that ruffles my feathers. I feel like a Canadian and forced to register. That really would fry me if I was an Illinois resident.
And you know it's coming. They've been talking about that in Michigan. They'd love to do that.
They will gouge us any way they can. It's just, I'm better just be quiet.
Yep, better move on.
Get people mad at me because I'm sure some people think it's a marvelous idea.
Okay.
Here's another story that has to do with all the uncertainty and all these layoffs in the U.S. federal government. Several Pennsylvania U.S. Army and Corps of Engineer campgrounds and beaches have decided they're just going to shut down because they don't have enough staff.
Now, those who paid for campground reservations, they're going to get a refund. And the closures are tied to the Trump administration's staff reductions and employee early buyout that's affecting national parks, campgrounds, and trails on federally run land around the country.
Yeah.
So we'll see where that goes.
Oh, you know it's going to go too. All right, last story. A local television station interviewed customers with some serious problems as part of an investigation into the camping world in North Charleston, South Carolina.
And the report featured customers saying Camping World sells RVs in poor condition, with repairs taking months, and the salespeople did not disclose important information at the time of purchase.
Yeah, that's bad news for Camping World, which just keeps getting bigger and bigger. They keep buying up smaller RV dealerships around the country. But that's publicity no RV dealer needs. All right, quick break. The RV question of the week and story time with Mike and Jen coming up after this.
When we're asked what's the most important modification we made to our RV, it's an easy answer. Battle-Born batteries. Battle-Born batteries are quality, safe, reliable lithium batteries that allow us to stay out there off the grid longer. Lithium batteries charge faster, they charge fuller, they're longer lasting, they're maintenance free, and Battle-Born batteries are protected by a 10-year guarantee. Now in our case, they just dropped into the existing AGM batteries that we have, and they'll probably be the same on your rig too. Battle-Born battery experts can get those in your rig just like they did with ours. They can also match you up with the right cabling, the inverter, the charger, the solar controller, everything. Jennifer and I swear by our Battle-Born batteries. They allow us to boondock off the grid. Check them out. Go to rvlifestyle.com/lithium. rvlifestyle.com/lithium.
Now, are you ready for the RV question of the week?
I'm ready.
Okay, since you're ready, here we go. We have a 2024 Airstream. We took it out for the first time this year, and my husband and I have a disagreement about the lithium batteries. I was under the impression that anytime the temperature dropped below 30 degrees, we needed to turn the heater switch on in the battery box to keep the batteries warm. Dan, however, keeps telling me that Mike said the only time you need to have the heater on the lithium batteries is when you are charging them below 30 degrees. We listen to your podcast every week and love it. By the way, is the meetup in Nashville full? We plan to join the private group, but have been remodeling our home in Edmond, Oklahoma, and simply have not gotten around to doing it. Thank you, from Nance.
Well, Nance, first of all, the Nashville trip is sold out, so there's no openings for it, and it's just a couple weeks away now. But we'd love to have you in rvcommunity.com, so head over and join. We'd love to have you be a part. I think our summer gathering in Northern Michigan is sold out, and we have a few openings left for our fall one that's going to be in the Texas Hill Country in October. So you want to join us out there, get in that community and join up.
Isn't there a waiting list? It seems like at the last minute there's always somebody that something happens.
There's always, when you get on, you can always go on a waiting list. But as you get, a week or two out, it's pretty hard. All right, as to the lithium battery things, Nancy, you are right, and your husband heard me wrong. If the temperature drops below 30, turn the heater on if you're using the batteries as your main source of power. It will, lithium, your husband's right, lithium batteries do not like cold. They don't like to discharge or charge when the temperature gets really cold. But if your Airstream is plugged into a pedestal at a campground or at your home, you don't have to turn the heater on because you're drawing electricity from the power grid, not from the lithium batteries. And if you're obviously storing your RV, the main battery disconnect would be off, so the batteries aren't connected at all, and there's no need for the heater to go on there. And the only reason to use the heater is if you're actually using the batteries as power and the temperature drops below 30. And it's always good to have warmer batteries. So hope that answered your question. And if you have a question, we would love to get your comments or question. You can reach us at Mike and Jen at rvlifestyle.com. Time now for Mike and Jen's Story Time. And what do we call this one?
Mike's Great Awakening. So you've got your popcorn ready? You ready for story time?
You're going to have to tell this one.
All right, I'll tell this one.
I'm the victim.
Let me tell you about my husband, Mike, who's now famous among our friends for being up at ridiculous hours. We're talking crack of dawn. Stars still out early. But believe it or not, this wasn't always the case. When we first got married, Mike was what you might call horizontally gifted. The man could sleep like it was an Olympic sport. And weekends, those were his gold medal events. I swear he could have slept until dinner if I let him. Meanwhile, I was juggling babies, bottles, and breakfast solo every single morning. You know how it goes. One child needs a diaper change while another one's hungry and the dog needs to go out. And somehow I'm supposed to grow an extra set of arms while Mike is in the bedroom conducting a symphony of snores. I tried the gentle approach at first. Honey, could you maybe get up a little earlier on weekends? He mumbled something that sounded like agreement, then promptly forgot by Saturday. This went on for months until I reached what I now refer to as the Great Awakening. It was a Saturday morning after a particularly exhausting week. The baby had been up half the night. The toddler woke at 5 a.m. ready to party. And there I was, exhausted, with spit up on my shirt, trying to make breakfast one-handed. And in the bedroom, Mike was dreamland, completely oblivious to the chaos outside the door. Something in me just snapped. I marched into the bedroom with the determination of someone who hasn't had a proper night's sleep in years. I threw open the bedroom door, stomped over to the window, and yanked open those blinds so fast that they practically spun. Sunlight flooded the room, but Mike just rolled over. Oh no, this wasn't going to be that easy. Next came the curtains. Swoosh, more light. Mike pulled the pillow over his head. That's when I went for the nuclear option. I opened the window. This was winter, and it was cold, as I recall it. It was a particularly chilly morning, and grabbed the comforter and the sheets and ripped them clean off the bed in one dramatic swoop. You should have seen him. Mike bolted upright, like he'd been shocked with a cattle prod. Eyes wide, hair standing in every direction. He looked at me, then at the clock, then back at me, and I didn't have to say a word. The look on my face said everything. And you know what? That was it. The end of Sleeping Beauty Mike. Something clicked that day, and he's never slept in since. These days, he's up before the birds, making coffee. I'm dreaming now that he'd start laundry or maybe make breakfast. He doesn't do that kind of stuff.
No.
And I don't drink coffee, but he drinks coffee. Occasionally, I'll roll over at some ungodly hour and see his side of the bed empty. And I think back to that morning, the day of the great blanket rebellion in our marriage, and smile to myself. So if you're wondering why Mike now considers 6 a.m. sleeping in, well, now you know. Sometimes love means letting your spouse sleep, and other times it means dramatically removing all bedding until they get the message.
Got the message. I got the message. I remember that. That was many, many years ago. And now it's you that, well, you're up. You're up by 7, little, sometimes 8, sometimes 9. But I got the message.
Yeah, I was, now I look back and thinking,
This is-
I'm glad you weren't the abusive type.
I'm really
Just
glad.
I was abusive. But no, I mean, it was time for you to get up.
It was time to get up.
Yes.
And now I'm an early riser. The Great Awakening story. All right, you might have a similar of your own. We've got more. We'll tell you all of our stories and story time every week on the podcast. We are Mike and Jen. We thank you guys so much for watching and listening to the podcast. Please subscribe. Those of you, particularly who are watching on YouTube, we really need you to subscribe. That just helps us get our podcast shown to more people. So hit the subscribe button in the lower right part of your screen. And there's a little bell. If you hit that, then you'll know when we have new content. And we put new content out on YouTube all the time. And of course, for you podcast audio listeners, you can subscribe to us on all of your favorite podcast apps. Thanks so much. Our email, we would love to hear from you, is mikeandjen@rvlifestyle.com.
Happy trails.